Episode 7 of Resident Evil is called Parasite. We start off in the Arklay Mountains in 2005. Albert is with Bert, and now we find out that it's not his twin brother. They're actually clones. And we learn that there's three of them, one being Albie, one being Bert, and then, of course, Albert. And then there's a fourth one who looks like Blade from the Blade Trinity franchise. And he seems to be the alpha of the group, and they're running tests, but umbrella guards break in, and the blade guy has some serious John Wick skills. So he starts to kill everyone, including one of the Alberts, Albie. And then Blade gets away, and then it's just Albert and Bert in there, and Evelyn walks in and says, "What the fuck are you?" So that's how they first met. Back to the Albert that we know in the cell, he's talking to Bert, and Bert mentions he hasn't seen Albert in 17 years and that Bert has been locked up in there the entire time. And he doesn't really seem to be upset. He seems like he has a content life. He's a very simple man. He says, "Mom can't kill me. She needs me." Albert says, "Don't call her that." Albert then tells Bert that he hasn't been locked up and he was able to make a life for himself. Umbrella guards then come in and take Albert away. Back to Jade. She's dealing with the mistake that she made that got someone killed. So she's in the lab trying to figure out how they found them. So she starts digging through the head of the Zero that she brought with her. And sure enough, there was a tracker inside. That's how the helicopters found them. Arjun then says they want to have a meeting and make a deal. Jade says we have to press the button. They disagree on this for a little bit, but Jade agrees to go to the meeting and talk to Evelyn. When we see Evelyn, she's speaking with a member of their community named Sakim, and she tells him that she just wants to talk to Jade. He says it's not that easy and I won't just hand over my people. Then, through the autopsy in current time, Evelyn found out that Albert dosed Rubia with 3 times the lethal limit of Julie and wants to know why. Albert then asks what she's doing with Bert, calling him unstable, worried that she's going to try to use him to make Julie. Then Evelyn calls Albert a clone, which is the first time it's confirmed, but it was pretty obvious up to this point. They still disagree on Joy being released, since Albert, he knows how dangerous it is. She forces him to stay and to work on the formula. So essentially, he's a prisoner for them right now. Back to current time, Jade is talking to B, who's upset. And she says to Jade, "You said it would be okay. You said everything was safe." Jade apologizes, and then she tells B they need to escape the ship. They can't trust Umbrella at all. Even if this means that B leaves the ship alone, she needs her to go. B promises that she will get off the ship the first chance that she gets. Then Bert, not Albert, shows up at the school honking for Billy and Jade. He is acting awkward and he doesn't know how to drive properly and he doesn't have the cut on his head, so it's clear that it's not Albert. So Evelyn sent him to pick them up. Now we find out the reason that Albert gets sick and he needs to inject himself every now and then, and we find out exactly what he uses to inject himself. It's because he's a clone and Umbrella are the only people that can administer it. So he's kind of stuck there, and she gives him his medicine to stop the pain. We find out what he injects in just a little bit. And then Bert is at lunch with Billy and Jade. And this is a really funny scene because he doesn't know anything that the girls are talking about, and they still think it's Albert at this point. So they go into the bathroom to try to figure out what's going on, and they think Albert's drugged or drunk or something, but they know something isn't right. Then Evelyn is at home and she puts some type of drug into her wife's drink, and Simon notices the pills and he's curious about it, so he grabs a couple. And then Evelyn tells Simon to text Jade saying she's afraid she may be in trouble, but really she just wants to get control of Jade. Back to Bert, he's being super awkward during the lunch, and finally Billy says, "What is wrong with you?" He says, "I'm not your dad, I'm your uncle." And then he says, "Well, we're clones." And then we find out that the Blade guy I was talking about, he was the original Albert Wesker, and he made these clones. But apparently he died in a volcano. That's what Bert says anyway, so I don't know if that's true or not. But this freaks them out, and they tell Bert to stay away from them. And then umbrella guards come in because they are searching for them. Now Billy and Jade kind of need Bert because Bert, just like the Blade guy, has some pretty badass fighting skills, and he takes them out easily. Then one of them hits Bert with a stun gun, and it doesn't even affect him. He just keeps moving forward and drops the guy. But then Roth gets out of the car, and he's the main man, and Bert tries to fight him, but he just pretty much puts a move on him and puts him in handcuffs pretty easily, and he says playtime is over. He tells them their dad is waiting for them and that Billy and Jade must come with him. They show up to Umbrella, and Evelyn greets them. They ask if Albert is really a clone, and Evelyn confirms it. She then takes them to see Albert, who's on the floor in pain. They take blood right out of Jade's arm, right in front of everyone, and then they say, "Here, take your medicine." So that explains why he needed their blood all along. She then explains rapid aging occurs when you are a clone. He grew 20 years in age in less than 6 month span. So she explains how she engineered their blood, Jade and Billy's blood, to fix the problem, which is why he needs to take samples from them and he needs to inject himself pretty much every day at this point. So he takes it, he injects it into his neck, and he levels out. Billy and Jade are both really pissed off about this because he lied, and now they're wondering if anything Albert ever said was true. Then in current time, Jade is heading to meet with Umbrella with a few members of her team, but they say she must go alone. She walks in and she sees Evelyn, who's dancing like a maniac, very, very robotic. Then Billy walks in with a tablet, and we find out that Evelyn is literally basically a robot that is controlled by Billy. She can press buttons and Evelyn does whatever action that she wants her to do. So Billy is really running Umbrella at this point. Jade then asks Billy, "Are you even really dying?" She said that was true, but she needs Jade's blood to fix her up like it did to Albert. Billy claims she is building a better future. She presses a button on her tablet to control Evelyn, and then Evelyn orders the men to take the ship. Just then, Jade pulls out a vial, one of the pheromones that she made, and smashes it on the floor. Everybody thinks it's nothing. They're kind of laughing at her, but then all you hear is a rumbling sound, and it's a horde of zombies. I mean, hordes of them. So many zombies are coming from everywhere because this is the pheromone that attracts the zombies, the one that she made. So she made one that attracts them and one that keeps them away from you, which she had sprayed on herself before she came out. They come in wave after wave and they take out so many Umbrella guards, but they walk right past Jade's team since they're all wearing the protective pheromone. The Zeros are wreaking havoc on Umbrella, and Jade's community gets ready to move to the ship, which Arjun is very worried about since Jade isn't back yet. Billy and Jade walk out to see the carnage, and Billy says, "Make it stop," and she even holds her hand. And then we get a flashback of them holding hands as kids as the episode ends.